This is Umar for BoxNation. I'm delighted to say Fight Week is finally here. I think out of the schedule that Queensberry and DAZN initially announced, for a lot of fight fans, this was the one because it's a guaranteed firefight. Before we come on to everything that's going to happen this Saturday, you've just had the first face-off of the week with Leigh Wood. Read much into it or not really?
Nah. It's what we got to do, isn't it, before the shows? It's Leigh's doing the weight, I'm doing the weight. We're all just wanting to get things done and dusted and get the fight in, you know.
Interesting. I just came into the hotel literally 5 minutes ago, and chance has it that Leigh Wood was at the
Reception?
desk.
Yeah.
You walked in, and you had a little bit of exchange, a respectful one.
Yeah. Listen, I respect Leigh. By the way he's carrying himself, he respects me too. So, see, at the end of the day, everyone loves a bit of Barney, a bit of slobbering and whatever else. But I respect every opponent, and I think that respect's the name of the game in this game. This is a hurt game, as the show's built, the hurt game. It really is a hurt game. So I respect all my opponents, and I won't disrespect anyone in and around their team or them.
And so that momentum that you're carrying into this fight with those fantastic wins over Cordina and Warrington, how much of a boost and factor do you think that will be on fight night?
Yeah, they're two good wins. Leigh, I just genuinely believe Leigh's a different animal. I know he's got the dog in him. He showed it time and time again. But there's questions to be asked this time from him and myself, I suppose, but mainly from him. He's had a big gap off. He's coming back from injuries or whatever's been going on in his life. So a little bit of inactivity there. So there's a couple of questions there he'll have to answer to himself. And for me, I've been more active than I've ever been, really, especially at this big stage. So we just gotta see what happens on the night, I suppose.
I was going to say, look, this fight is a 55-45, even 50-50 for some people on paper.
100%.
But the two factors, one of them I just mentioned, your momentum, and also you touched upon it there. Leigh is, I think, 37 years old and has had 19 months out the ring.
Yeah.
Look, he's in front of his own people. He always digs deep. He always finds a way, Leigh Wood. But considering the nearly 20-month gap break there, again, how much of a factor do you think that will play on fight night?
It depends on Leigh, really. Do you know what I mean? For me personally, I mean, I've had these gaps before, and I've always come back and bounced back all right. But I wouldn't have been coming up a caliber of opponent as myself. Do you know what I mean? As I believe I am. So it's going to be hard for Leigh. One thing he has is the equalizer, and that's a big thing about him. He's a puncher, but I'm a puncher and a boxer, and I can do a wee bit of it all. It's got the makings of a really interesting fight, you know.
I think both your journeys are quite remarkable because a young fighter who hasn't had it their own way, and may think of giving up, can look at both of you for inspiration because you've both come into the best years of your career late on. You know, it doesn't really happen that much. It's quite an interesting backdrop to that story. But again, with Leigh, he's been in a lot of wars. You look at the Condon fight, the Lara fights, Warrington, etc. Do you think he can handle the heat against you if it gets into a war?
I've trained for the best Leigh Wood. I've trained for them sort of fights. Do you know what I mean? I believe he can. I'm not going to take anything away from him. Do you know what I mean? He's proven time and time again. So I'm not going to be one of these clips in a few months. You know, I believe he's a double world champion for a reason. He's done everything in his life. He's 37 or 36, 37. Don't know what he is.
I'll have to ask him.
I think he's a couple of months older than me. So we're two very old fighters, especially at the weight. But look what we're doing. You know what I mean? We're headlining a big show. I'm coming to his home city. He's selling 8,000 tickets. I'm bringing a couple of hundred from Belfast. But listen, it's a great fight. For me, it's the hardest fight in my career by a mile. Do you know what I mean? Cordina at the time, yes, he was very well rated, but Leigh's a different dog, and I'm just gonna have to break him down and get him out of there on the night, and with his home crowd there or not.
Is it just too easy to say, look, there'll be times where you guys meet them in the middle of the ring and just trade off? Like, when you break this clash down stylistically, how does it pan out in your head?
It really depends. It really depends. Obviously, it's I would always kind of. I would say I would be more of a thinker in the ring. I mean, I don't just go gun ho. I know that Leigh goes gun ho sometimes, and that could be his downfall. It could be, God knows. But I believe that I can box him. If I have to stand with him and fight him, I believe I'm strong enough to do so. I've got a good enough chin to do so. I believe that I can hurt Leigh with either hand. So it's just, again, mate, I don't really like there's no overconfidence, nothing like that, but I'm seriously confident that I can knock him out or outpoint him. Seriously confident.
There is a slight size advantage as well, isn't there, in terms of reach? No?
It doesn't really look it, does it? It doesn't. Do you think so?
Have you got a bit on him?
Height?
In terms of reach?
BoxRec says it do.
Does it?
The BoxRec had never come out and measured my length of my arms.
Well, when you sized him up today, did you see anything? Or?
Nah, he looks solid. He looks solid. Looks like a... Do you know what? He's just a good person. He's a good guy. Do you know what I mean? He sounds a pound, you know what I mean? It was a bit awkward to face off because it was on that long and the way things were going, it was just funny. But I take nothing away from the lad. He's a 2-time world champion. This is my third 2-time world champion in a row. I've came from absolutely nowhere and now I'm at the top of the game, as far as I'm concerned. I'm definitely one of the top at my weight. So, again, mate, thank God, thank Jesus that I'm in this position because I genuinely put it down to a real gift of fortune.
Well, listen, I wanted to actually end on that because there will be people still saying, I didn't want to bring it up too much because it's fight week, but there will be still people saying, oh, you vacated, you ducked Sugar Nunez. But considering your age and where you're at in your career, you've done your apprenticeship. It's taken quite a while for you to get to this point. You've won a world title. No one can ever take that away from you. Yeah. And now it's surely about generational wealth and the biggest fights. If you were 25 years old or 28 years old, it's a different ball game if you vacate, perhaps. But I guess you go along with that answer.
Yeah. What was the question, though?
In terms of, for those still saying, you duck Sugar Nunez, I guess there's two ways to look at it. There is a way to just look at that black and white, but then there's also reality and the fact that your age, your career, you need to make generational wealth now.
Well, the way I'll put it to you, right? And this is the last time I'll want to ever talk about fucking Sugar Nunez. I swear, I'm sick of hearing that name, right? If someone offered you, and these aren't the figures, I wish they were, but if someone offered you £1 million to fight Leigh Wood, or they offered you 400,000 to fight Sugar Nunez, what do you take? They're nowhere near the figures, but we're just talking about it here. Over 100% of a difference of money. What do you do?
Of course, the bigger financial purse.
Whether it be in boxing, whether it be in life, or whatever else, I made a decision for my 3 children, and I would, I would fight Sugar Nunez if you're watching. Regardless of the result of me and Wood, I will fight you next. Do you know what I mean? Regardless. Do you know what I mean? No problem. Whoever says I'm a duck, this is just a bunch of ball bags. Do you know what I mean? Ball bags that know nothing about boxing, who love to sit in their armchair and criticise us fighters who are out grafting every day, training every day and putting their lives on the line. And they're sitting there and they're going to have opinions. Fuck them.
Okay, on that note, listen, best of luck on Saturday night, live on DAZN. It should be a brilliant atmosphere. I know you have your travelling fans in there as well, and Leigh's got some raucous support.
Yeah.
And as I said, we expect a firefight, and let's hope for that this Saturday night. Thank you very much, Anta.
Thank you, Umar. Thank you.
Queensbury.
The biggest fights.
And the biggest nights.
Home of champions.
Home of knockouts.
There's no way back from this!
The home of the future.
And this is it!
The global home of boxing.
Queensbury, exclusively on DAZN.